Hello, fifth graders. So today we are going to start our unit on personal narrative. And you've all started a pre-assessment where you started writing your own personal narrative about a summer memory. So you have a little bit of information about what personal narrative is. Today though, your job is I can notice attributes of a personal narrative. So when I say the word attributes, that just really means the pieces of writing that goes into making a personal narrative a personal narrative. So if I say that, like if I asked you, what are the attributes of a snowman? Go ahead, pause the video and just think to yourself, what are the attributes of a snowman? So to me, I would say, well, it's made of snow, right? A snowman, the first attribute is we have 3 balls of snow, and then we have stick arms, right? We have maybe button eyes, maybe a carrot nose, right? Maybe a top hat and a scarf. So we can name all these different attributes of a snowman, and that's what we're going to do with personal narrative. So what makes a personal narrative a personal narrative? So you're going to put on your reader's eyes, okay, and notice powerful patterns. So authors use patterns in their writing, and now you are going to look at my patterns that I wrote in my personal narrative to see what attributes pop out to you. Now, why is this important? Why do we need to read or figure out the pieces of a personal narrative? I mean, really, it's very important so that if you know what a personal narrative should look like and be proficient, then you can become a proficient writer in this unit of personal narrative writing. Okay, so we start with just a review. What are just the elements or attributes of a story? And I know in my class we definitely talked about the elements of a story. And the first thing I always think of is this nice plot mountain, right? So you may have seen this in 4th grade, where down here we start with the introduction. And in the introduction, you should always introduce character and setting, right? So setting is this where it takes place, and the character in this case, since it's a personal narrative, it's you. Then we have maybe a few events that happen here, and then we see a problem pops up, right? So this is a problem or conflict that might happen. And with a personal narrative, it could be something as simple as the problem was I tripped on a rock, right? Or the problem was we got lost on vacation, something like that. And then there's more events that lead up to this climax or the major action of the story. And so that's where everything kind of comes to a head and everything is happening, and then things start to get solved. So this problem starts to get solved as we go down here, and then we get to the actual solution or conclusion of the story. And again, in personal narrative, this is usually just a reflection like, I really loved San Diego and going on that trip. I'd love to go again. That's it. That's all you need as a solution. It could just be a reflection. So these are some major attributes you should be noticing in my personal narrative that you're going to read here soon. But there's always more that you can discover. Things like dialogue, okay? Things like sensory details. What does it smell like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Different details about the character. What does the character look like? How is the character feeling inside? Also, maybe a reflection, like at the end, on what a person learned going through this process of the story. Okay, so keep your mind open to noticing different attributes, and there's really no wrong answer. There's a lot of things that you can notice. All right, so I'm going to give you an example. What do you notice in this introduction? And I'm actually going to flip over here. So here's my personal narrative I wrote. It's titled The Fall by Mrs. Clark. I'm going to show you how I would highlight different attributes as I read just this first paragraph, this introduction. So I will do that for you. All right, here we go. Yes! I yelled as the clock struck 8 a.m. Already, my friends, I got a noticing because when I see these little quotation marks, I know that means dialogue. And I've decided I'm going to highlight dialogue in purple. So I went and clicked on and selected what I wanted to highlight. And then I went to this little kind of marker looking icon and I got to choose a color. There's all these colors to choose from. And I'm going to stick with purple for dialogue. So I yelled as the clock struck 8 a.m. Here's another noticing. It's 8 a.m. It's 8 in the morning. That's a piece of the setting. And I'm going to color any type of introduction piece like the setting or characters green. I bounded out of bed and hurried to get ready. I could smell the appetizing aroma of coffee brewing in the French press. So right here I'm highlighting smell the appetizing aroma of coffee brewing. Okay, this is really good sensory detail. You can almost smell that aroma, right? So sensory detail is going to be red. The crackle of bacon greeted my ears just as the scent of roasting pork met my nose. Again, this whole sentence is a sensory detail, right? What I'm hearing, the crackle of bacon, and then the smell of roasting pork met my nose. So again, I'm going to highlight that red. It's sensory detail. Hey, lazyhead, it's about time you got up, my husband said as I wandered into the kitchen. Oh, here we go. Another piece of dialogue. And remember, I'm doing purple for dialogue. And then we find another setting here. We're starting the story in the kitchen. We could have probably inferred that by the sensory detail here. Breakfast is ready and I've already packed the car. Another dialogue piece. That's my husband still speaking. Okay, and so that's the introduction. And now that's kind of an idea of what I want you to be doing. Your job is to now go through the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-ish different paragraphs. Okay, read through these paragraphs. Go ahead and highlight different noticings that you have. And then at the very bottom, you'll see your job is to list at least. So when I say at least, that means you do have to have 4 noticings, but you can also have more. Okay, you can definitely have more than 4. So for example, I might say something like, I noticed that the introduction included the setting and sensory details. And that's it. That's all you have to do for that one. And then think of a different noticing you have. Okay? And then a third noticing and a fourth. And so let's flip back here. So then that's your task. You're going to click on the document, the fall, and that will be in Google Classroom. Highlight the different noticings like I just showed you. Type the noticings at the end, or guess what? If you're not a huge fan of the highlighting and of the typing, you can use Screencastify, that app to go, or that extension on Google Chrome to take a video and record yourself as you notice different things in my exemplar. And then you can just link in that recording to Google Classroom if that's better for you. All right, good luck, my friends. I hope you have fun.